Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight's program is 10 tips for new managers. My name is Claire, and I'm the business librarian here at Glenview Public Library. And tonight's program is presented by Sarah Mitial of People Architectural Group, LLC. This program is presented in collaboration with Glenview, Indian Trails, Northbrook, Skokie, and Vernon area public libraries as a part of the Lake Cook Career Collaborative. You can find out more about upcoming job and career programs from this collaborative at the website careercollab.org. I'll also go ahead and put that in the chat for everyone. We are recording this webinar, and if you have any questions that come up, please go ahead and put those in the chat or the Q&A box. We'll try to answer those as we go. We will be sharing the slide deck after the program. And again, if you do have any questions that come up, please put those in the chat or the Q&A. So this is the 10 tips for new managers program. Please welcome Sarah.
Thank you, Claire. I think it's great to be here. Everybody, thank you for being online. My name is Sarah Mitial. I am the founder and CEO of a company called People Architectural Group. People Architectural Group is a human resources company. We provide services in the areas of talent acquisition, talent development, and consulting services. What I love to do all day, every day, is to help managers stand taller. Everyone that is on the line, you are here because one, you have been an amazing individual contributor and somebody saw it and they thought that you should be in management, or you have always been wanting to be in management and therefore you apply for a position and you got it. And then now you're wondering, what in the world do I have to do? So I hope today the information I am going to share with you will be able to give you some tips, make your life a little bit easier for you. As I'm writing, I would love to know who's in the room with me. So if you wouldn't mind, in the chat, go ahead and write down if you are a manager of people, or if you're a manager of processes. Go ahead and as I'm going to share a few more things with you, go ahead and write down if you are a manager of people or manager of processes. And also let me know, if you are a manager of people, how long you've been a manager. And, you know, as we are learning, we understand that there's a lot to management. And so sometimes there's a difference between managing one person or managing a team of people. So I think I see some people are responding. Let me get to the chat. So we have some management of people here, processes, people, past manager of 10+ years. So you have people, people in process, owner, admin, and HR. So you have a list of people. So some of the tips that I'm going to share today may be a reminder for you. I don't think anything will be new to you, but a lot of them will be, hopefully bring it back to the forefront of your mind. For the agenda today, I am going to talk about the definition of manager, talk a little bit about expectation, and then I'm going to share my tips. And then hoping that as I am talking, you'll be able to ask questions, and we'll be able to create this common ground where we can learn from each other, not just from me, but we can learn from each other. So as you are talking, I want you to think about what is and write it in the comment for me. What is your definition of a manager? When you think about a manager, somebody, what do you think of? We've already had a couple of people tell me that they've been managing people, but what does that mean? What is your role, and what is your definition when you think about a manager? Go ahead and put it in the comments in the chat section for me, and let me know, what is your definition of a manager? As you are thinking of that manager, what is a servant leader? Absolutely. Someone who doesn't only see themselves, but see that a person who leads a team. Yes, collaborating successes, removing roadblocks. Absolutely. This is some of the definition of what a manager is. And when I went to Webster, it tells me that a manager is a person appointed or elected to manage the affair of another. So a person, and good, you keep it coming. Help keeps a team focused, growing in their expertise, helping a problem solver. Absolutely. So your definition and what Webster is dictionary is telling me is very similar. So you have been appointed. You apply for that role, somebody gave you an authority to be in that position where you are. So as you are talking, let me get, what is your definition of a leader? So I know somebody wrote a servant leader, absolutely. So when you think you have a manager, and a leader, maybe some of you have the same definition, but if there's another definition out there, please let me know. What is your definition of a leader? Feel free to write it down there. A servant. Let's see what Webster, some definition without a formal authority. Absolutely. It's okay. Very good. Webster tells us that a leader is a person who leads. So you have a group of people you are leading. When I combine the two, when I think about the definition that Webster gave me of a manager, and then I look at what he tells me of a leader, those key things that comes to mind: appointed, elected, and you lead. So what does that mean to me when I think about a leader? Someone is elected. So a lot of us, we are leading a department, we are leading in areas we don't have authority. And usually those people are the ones that are leading projects. Sometimes they don't have the authority over people. They have authority over getting work done. So they have to work with the people to get it done. And then we have, I love this because I want you to know that you have the authority as a manager of people, if that's what you are, you are appointed by your organization to get a work done. There are roadblocks. When I think about the organization, I think about there are strategies, there are goals, there are things that need to get done, and then the organization want result. So they are hiring you because they want you to get them to the result. So their strategies and business plan, the goals and so on and so forth, they want to get it done. And there are people in between there to get it. They have people, and you are managing those. You're going to be working through others to get the work done. I want you to think about one more thing for me. So we've defined manager, we've defined a leader, and now let's talk about the characteristics of a manager. As you were thinking about a manager, you are writing some description for me for a manager, you're writing description for me for a leader. Most likely you have a specific leader in mind that you were thinking of as you were talking. And so as you were thinking about that person, the one person that you have in mind, can you tell me what thing most important, what sticks out to you about that person you were thinking of, you might have been thinking of when you think about leaders, a leader? What are some characteristics? Growth mind. I love that. Open, hear others, ideas and perspective, humility. Absolutely. There are all kinds of leaders and there are all kinds of characteristics. And what I want you to do is that sometime if you, especially you're a new manager, the one thing I want you to think about is the people who's been in your life, who's been in your path, that has demonstrated certain characteristics have led you before, and you think about these things, I want you to think about them when you don't know what to do for yourself as a new leader. I want you to emulate, just copy those good characteristics, the thing that makes you feel heard, the things that makes you feel understood, the things that help move the organization forward. Those are the characteristics that I want you to hang on to. All the bad ones, don't repeat them, because don't repeat, but as much as possible, go ahead and think about those characteristics, think about that person. I always think of some leaders that when I'm in situation, I'm like, what would Nancy do? I would say, what would Paul do? I mean, I'm thinking about what would Caleb do? So it's like I am trying to think about those individuals that I know who have and I'm sure those individuals too have leaders that they look up to. And so the same way too, someday people are going to be looking at you. They probably thinking about, what is this person would do? What is my manager would do? And as they are trying to resolve their own problem. When I am sharing my tips, my top 10 tips, I want you to know that a manager, there are so many things that we can talk about, but I'm just going to share 10. And a lot of time, what's important to you, it all depends on what will help you solve your current problem. That's what I want you to think about. So there are different problems that you are going to encounter. And as you are thinking about it, is that I'm just sharing these 10 tips. So they are not all that's it, but a lot of time it's situational. But I believe that those 10 tips that I'm going to share will help you no matter what situation you are in. It will help you engage with your people. It will help you understand the situation. It will help you, absolutely will help you in any situation. So my first 10 tips, when I think about it, the first thing that I think is absolutely positively important when you are a new manager, the first thing you need to do is you need to have a learning mindset. And what a learning mindset is to me is that I am understanding that as a new manager, that I was promoted because I was doing good work. But the good work that I was doing only depends on me. I was focusing on moving my roadblocks. I was focusing on me and me alone. I have this lens, the lens that I was looking at was very funnel tunnel on me. It was focusing on me. And as a manager, your responsibility is not only you. You probably have I saw somewhere and I couldn't remember who said it. I didn't come up with this, but this number is 70%. If you have employees, 70% of your work is moving roadblocks for your employees. And 30% is probably work that you are doing yourself. So you are moving roadblocks. It's like you have people coming and you need to be able to work and help them solve their problems so they can, you are working through them, you're working with them. And so in order for you to truly get what you need to do, and with this mindset, the first thing I always say is that mindset, before I even start moving the roadblock, I need to make sure that I understand what I need to do for me, right? You need to know what you need to do for you. And one of the things that I always tell, when you walk in my office, I have this quote that I came up with. I said, your potential is beyond what you can see, and you have more value than what you've been told. Some of us are in position and we don't understand. We think that what got us here will keep us there, which is not true. And some of us don't understand that there are so much that you are going to accomplish. So before we start focusing on anybody else, I want you to focus on you. Figure out what you need so you can be successful. And that successful could mean in the morning, I need to wake up in the morning. I need to wake up in the morning and I need to go for a walk. I need to read. I need to meditate. I need to, whatever it is that you need to do it. You also need to learn. You are going to be learning, and learning means you are learning about your organization. If you are a manager, you should go and figure out, ask for the goals of the organization overall. And so you can understand what the goal, mission, and vision of your organization is. And then that goal, most likely, if you are a manager of a department, most likely there's a division that you are under. So know, how does that main goal cascade to your own division? And then when you understand that and see how it cascades to you, to your department. And so when you can see that big picture, you can understand that, okay, I'm not just trying to get to my little spot, but I'm trying to get the organization to do something greater. I'm part of something bigger. The other thing you want to know is you want to know the people. Spend time getting to know your employees. If you are new as a manager, one of the first thing you probably should do is let everybody know that I'm going to spend some time with you. I spend 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, spend time with each of your employees to understand who they are, understand what they are doing, go to lunch with them every once in a while. And as you are doing that, you are learning. It's going to help you do better. Also learn about not just your department, but learn about the other departments, the other department heads, and learn about them, because you want to know how the work that you're doing in your department interacts with others. How does it affect others, right? If you do that, you're just going to be so much more. And learn outside too. There are webinars to the wazoo. So make sure that you are signing up. Make sure you are networking with other professionals. There are people who have done what you are doing right now. So it's not new. So you can learn from them. So put that learning mindset on so you can be able to achieve the goal that you need to do for your organization. So that's my number one tip. My second tip is build trust. You cannot do work without building trust. The people that are around you, you are new to them. If you're a new manager, either you just maybe they hired you as the manager, now you have to hire your team, or somebody left, now you come in, and now nobody knows you. Nobody knows your leadership. Nobody knows. So you have to build that up. And so the way you can build that trust, again, it goes back to what we said, learning. You are learning about them. When you learn about them, you will be able to do what you are supposed to do. One book that I absolutely love, and this is whenever an organization tell me that there are mistrusts and they are new to the organization, I always tell the manager to go ahead and read this book, The 5 Dysfunction of a Team. And I'm sorry, Build Trust is my number 2. 5 Dysfunction of a Team is a book that I absolutely love. I am a facilitator for a partner and facilitator for this wonderful course. But the book, everybody can get this on Amazon. You can read it. And it tells you that if you want to have a cohesive team, if you want to have a good team, the foundation of your team have to have trust. And then not only does it have trust, Patrick Lencioni talk about conflict. Your team needs to know that when something goes wrong, when they are not agreeing with somewhere, there is a safe space for them to come and talk about it. And so trust, for you to have trust, you need to be able to deal with conflicts that comes up. And there need to be commitment. And those commitments we all need to understand what those commitments are, what those goals are. And then when we know that, we can all be accountable of the part that we are responsible for, that we know what everybody's supposed to do. And then when you have that, you can have trust. You can reach the result. So if you are a new manager, I really learning, there are so many books, there are so many things out there that you can learn from. So definitely find some books, go to the library, go to Amazon, find some books to read and to kind of help you understand on conflict resolution, delegation, and so much more, and how to be an effective manager. Read up on those books. And the more you learn, the more you're going to be able to implement the things that you learn. So build trust with your team, get to know them, spend time with them, and let them know what you are all about. When they know you are authentic, you are transparent, they are going to trust you. They are going to know that when you say something, you mean it, and back them up too, you know, and be there for them to answer questions. All of that is going to help you build trust with your team. My number 3 is share goals. If you are a new manager, most likely you come in and you're like, oh my gosh, I am learning so much. I don't know yet what the goal is. Maybe the first 30 days, your goal is to get to know who's in the team. And if that's what the goal is, share it with everybody. Hey, everybody, I am new here. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. Let's reconvene in 2 weeks, and then I will let you know more about where I see us going. But for right now, before you go and start changing everything, get to know people, understand where they are, what they are doing. The first way you can lose a team is go in there and start making changes day one. Don't do that unless something have to change for legal purposes or things like that. Don't change. Go in there, spend the next 30 days getting to know them and just doing the work, you know, doing stuff that you have to do, but then communicate, share the goal of the department, share the goal, your vision for the department, and everybody. This is going to help you build trust. Okay, learn. If you can see that everything is building up on each other, the learning mindset, and then you are building trust because of everything that you are learning, and then you are sharing that learning, you know, and then when you are learning, you are encouraging others to learn as well. Okay, so that is definitely share your goal, have a learning mindset, build trust with your team, and share goals. And number 4, as you are setting goal, like I said, you set the goal, you make plans, you get to work, and then you stick to the plan. And then, you know what, everything we do is a moving document. So you may have a goal today, and then the more you learn, you are adjusting it, you are changing it, and it's okay. It's okay to let people know that, you know what, we were doing this, it's not working. Let's try this. You adjust your plan as you need to. The next one is communication. If you don't do anything, communicate with your people. To build trust, you have to communicate. To build trust, you need to understand who's on your team. To build trust, you need to share what you are doing. And so communication is key in an effective team. And as a tip for managers, to be an effective manager, you need to communicate. You can't be sitting there only. And even if you are, some of you might say, you know what, I'm in a hybrid right now, I work from home. That is even more reason for you to set up these touch points on Zoom, or touch point, call your employees to check up on them and communicate with them to understand what they are doing. What can you do to move barriers for them? How are they doing on the project you give them? Will they be able to meet the deadline? If they can't meet the deadline, ask why. And then you have more things to help move barriers for them in order for them to be able to be successful. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, but we're going to keep going. I wanted to put this out there as you are communicate to understand who is on your team. One of the things I love, everything disc. I love this product because this is something very easy for you to do and very clear to understand. When you think about the people that are in your team, sometimes those individuals, you have all types of personality, and DISC is one of them that kind of help you understand. You could have someone who is very dominant, like when they talk, they are very direct, they are very decisive, and you wonder, why is this person sound very rude? Why are they like that? No, they are not like that. It's just because that's who they are. That's what comes naturally to them. And then you might have someone, the moment you walk in, they are very lively. They are very, interactive with everybody. They are just the life of the party. Again, you want to know who that person is and how do they work, they interact with each other. You might have the person in your team that is very stable, very quiet, in your team, or the person that no matter what it is, they want the number, they want the data. That's the conscientious person. So whoever it is, you want to, as a manager, you want to either read up, do a course or something to help you understand first of all, which one of these you are, and then what's your communication style, and then who is in your room. You can do it for your staff as well. Help them, you understand who it is in your room and how you can help them, how you can work more effectively with them. Okay. As you all communicate, my next one is active listening. Active listening is my number 6 tips for new manager. As you are learning about your people, make sure you are truly listening to them. You can talk, you're communicating, you are sharing, you are building trust. All of this is about you. As you are talking to them, you want to listen. What do they say? How do they say they learn? How do they say they need you to manage them? How do they say they want you to share information with them? What are they telling you? You listen, and listen to understand. Listen with your eyes. Listen as they are talking. What is their body language telling you? Is it matching what they are saying? You need to be listening with all of your senses to be able to be an effective manager, to really be able to understand, be able to support them so they can do the work of your organization. And as you all, some tips for active listening is you listening, eye contact. As you are talking to them, it is them that you are talking to. Sometimes you are talking, you're taking notes, but there are certain things an employee said, you need to stop, put the pen down and just listen. There are times to take notes. There are times maybe you take notes after, jot some note later on, but listen, eye contact is key in some conversation. So read the room when you are talking to people, to your staff. And also avoid distraction. If you are talking to somebody, so you have your cell phone with you, you have other things, sometimes just stop. Don't be answering all kind of, don't be on your phone. Don't be talking to somebody else. Just listen to them. That's the time for you to do that. Body gesture, as I mentioned, if you feel like there's something wrong, before you start asking questions, just be mindful of what's going on and give feedback. Ask questions for clarity as you are talking to your staff, as you are listening. If you need to ask them to repeat something, if you need to ask stuff. Sometimes when I listen and I let people talk, and then I have to come back and I send in a follow-up message, email or something, like I'll call them back and say, hey, thanks for talking to me yesterday. You know what, I was thinking about you and I was thinking about what you said. And then that's when I ask my questions. Maybe I won't ask them, depends on what the conversation is. I may not ask the question right there. And sometimes it's not because I didn't want to ask the question. The question did not come up. It's as I am thinking about it, it comes up. So continue the conversation next time. Active listening. I didn't have this up yet, but make sure as you are getting to know your employees that you are setting specific touch point, whether it's every week you have a weekly call, weekly conversation with them. Make sure that you set that time apart where it's just one-on-one between you and your employees. If you don't have team meetings, you want to make sure that you have that. Set some team meetings up. Okay. The next thing that I always said, if you do anything, if you don't listen to me about anything, make sure you are documenting. When I think about management, a lot of people think that the department that keep files and things like this is only the HR. And I have to tell you, that's not true. Managers need to keep track of what's going on. You talking to employees on a weekly basis. If you have team meetings, you need to document team meetings. You can document something about what happened. When employees talk to you, have a file. I always said sometime on my computer right now, I have notes. So I keep notes on my computer. I have everybody's name, and then I keep a note about, that's the electronic files that I have, and I put the date and so on. If you don't have time, use Post-it. I remember when I started managing, I have Post-it notes, and I'll write something and I have a file for each of my employees. I would throw it in this Post-it note in there, and I date them. And sometime when it's time to do review, I have all those Post-it notes that said, this person did this, and it was 2 months ago, right? Now I didn't remember. If I didn't see the note, maybe I wouldn't remember, but now I have that little Post-it notes. Again, or I talked to them about this. And then now I talk to them again. I talk to them on this date. I talk to them that. This is more constructive feedback, or maybe somebody else tell me something about an employee. I've already shared it with the employee, give the feedback, but I am keeping tabs of what it is. This is going to help you. If something happened, I hope you never have to fire anyone. I hope you never have to have a deal with a legal action. But if you don't keep notes, you won't be able to remember those details as fresh as when it happened. But when you write notes, you can go back. So document to cover yourself. Document all the time. So I cannot say it anymore than to say document. HR is going to love you if you document information. When you go back to them and said, hey, Miss HR, I needed to, there's a problem. There was like, what is the problem? Have you talked to the employees? This is when your little notes will come. Yes, I gave them feedback X. I give them feedback this time. I give them feedback that time. And you can just be able to keep tab of when you actually talk to them. What did you say? A gist of the conversation. HR can be able to provide you. I don't have this as one of my top 10, but HR should be as a new manager, HR should be your best friend. Get to know your HR person. Their job is to protect the organization and its asset. And the biggest asset of any organization are the people that works in that organization. HR writes those policies and procedures so they can help you understand what you should or should not do. You've never been a manager before, especially if you haven't been a manager before, you don't know what to do, or you don't really know everything. So they can help protect you. They can help you lead better. So get to know your HR person as well. My next one is to delegate. A lot of people do not want to delegate because they think that they are the one who does it better. As a manager, for today, maybe yes, you can do it better today. But let me tell you something. The more you share, the more you allow others to do it, they're going to do it better than you. They might do it differently than you. That's okay. As long as they get to the result that you need them to do, it doesn't matter how you get it done. So make sure that you are working, you are giving people an opportunity to grow. And when you delegate, one of the things that happen is that you are freeing yourself from a task, and then you're allowing somebody else to grow. But guess what happened to you? Because you don't have this, you get to get more stuff, other things on your plate. So you get to learn too and grow. Your boss is giving you new stuff, you're giving new stuff to your employees. So it's a win-win. And as you are delegating, Make sure that you are providing, you have a plan for the delegation. Don't just give something to someone and expect it to get done, but discuss it with them. Let them know that hey, do you have bandwidth? I want to give you this thing. I think it's going to be great for you. Let's put a plan together. I'm giving it to you this. I want to discuss the task. I want to tell you this is when I need it back. And always give people a deadline before it's actually the deadline that you need to turn it in yourself. So, and provide feedback to them, outline give them the authority to get it done. If you are giving them something that they're going to be working with other people to get it done on your department, make sure you go to the staff and say, hey guys, Sarah is going to help me on this project. Make sure that, help her. However, if she asks you something, please give it to her as soon as possible. Right there, you giving the authority to your employees to be able to do it. And then always give feedback throughout the process. Help the employees. Make sure you have, before you delegate, make sure you have a plan about this. This is a course that I love, that we have an upcoming course. We do some delegation and effective delegation. This is something that I can talk to for hours and hours and hours, but make sure that as a manager, one of the things that you are doing is that you are giving your employees the opportunity. And so make sure that you are giving them, delegating work to them. The next thing is be agile. The way you do things today doesn't mean you have to do the same thing tomorrow. So keep calm, change as change is needed. People, organization who was not agile, who was not open to change, who was not open to do things differently, a lot of them does not exist anymore. After 2020, the curve that we got, all of a sudden, people who wouldn't change, who wouldn't allow people to work from home, all of a sudden, they are, they are not there anymore. So make sure that you are agile, move, change your strategy as you need to be able to get your work done. You may be able to do it today this way, one way, but there are other things coming through. There are other resources that comes along. So as a result, you don't need those 5-6 steps anymore. So be able to change. Be open to change, and it's going to be a life changer for you. My next tip, number 9, is embracing technology. Technology should be your friend. Be able to change. Those of us who did not want to change technology, did not want to embrace technology, had a hard time in 2020. And so technology is changing every day, and it's not going away. So be able to change with technology and do what you need to do. Reimagine ways to connect with your employees. If you are a manager that is on hybrid, find ways to connect, find ways to get together. Don't be afraid of technology, because if you do, it's not going to be good for you. So I want you to always be able to, you are learning. If you see that everything we are doing is like that learning mindset continue to grow, you are building trust, you are sharing resources, you are communicating, and then you're actively listening to the people around you. You are documenting. You're documenting your learning. You're documenting the things you're doing for trust. You're documenting the goals that you have shared. You are documenting, you probably send stuff to them electronically. You're actively listening of what you need to do, how you can move roadblocks for your people. You are continuing to delegate. You're not keeping all the work for yourself, because you know what? You have 5-10 people, so you can work faster. You can work more effectively. Utilize them. Figure out how to do it. If you are someone who's not delegating, who has a problem with delegate, get to know yourself. Go back to that mindset and understand, what do I need to do? How can I do it? How can I help my people? And then embrace technology. And in my last tip is, you want to be reviewing, you want to be adjusting, you want to be repeating those things that works. And whatever doesn't work, you want to go back and changes. So review, adjust, repeat. I would add review, adjust, repeat on each one of those tips. Review, adjust. You are documenting, and then you're reviewing, you're adjusting, and you're repeating what needs to be done. And that's the way you keep it going. Your job, make your job easier. Those are the 10 tips. That doesn't mean they go in that order. Whatever, wherever you are, adjust it. Go back, because some of us already in the team. So maybe communication, you need to improve. Every day you go to work, you have an opportunity to start over, to do it right, to see your employees. And as you are learning, encourage others to learn, because when your employees are learning, they are able to get new ideas into their mind. This is where the innovation comes in. This is where they can do better. So as a leader, I want you to always be asking yourself, how do I lead? You need to assessing you all the time. Don't wait for your managers to tell you. Don't wait for people to tell you how it is, but ask yourself, how am I leading? And use the information. There's data out there. As you are talking to people, when they are telling you, Sarah, I haven't heard, why you haven't told me what's going on. That means you need to work on your communication. Sarah, I don't know. I feel like there's no trust. You know, I tell you one thing, there's nothing happening. That right there, you are getting data. So those data that you are hearing, utilize them, find solution for them. What are my strengths? Know your own strength before we can go out there and hoping that others see us. We need to see us. We need to see ourselves. You know, what are the blind spots? Ask yourself, if you're a leader, what are my blind spots? Work on those blind spots. Bring people who have the skill set that you don't have in your team. Don't hire the same kind of people every day, but hire them with different skill set so they can complement each other. And that's when I was talking about this is something this can do. What are the kind of personality? So make sure you have variation of that to get the work done. And how do I navigate me? Know yourself. Know yourself before. If you know yourself, then you know, be open to constructive feedback. If you can do that, you are going to be a phenomenal manager. This is less about you and more about the people. So if you want to, what question, before I even get to the last slide, what questions do you guys, is there any question? I'll open it up for question right now. When you are thinking about those tips, what are some my top 10 tips? What tips would you add that I didn't ask? You know, as I think about this as a manager, your responsibility is to make sure that you are addressing turnover, you are addressing engagement, you are addressing morale, you are addressing so many things that the organization will need you to focus on. And I think when you are thinking about if you have morale problem, if you have turnover problem, if you have engagement problem, I think these 10 tips can help you solve some of them. If you communicate more effectively, if you are listening, if you are sharing goals, if you are building trust, that all of these things going to attack directly engagement issues. They are and do what you say you're going to do. These things, if you learn to delegate and you sharing work, all of that is going to help you to maintain a good help you as a manager be a more effective manager. Is there any questions?
If you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat or the Q&A box.
I think you can never, like the ice tip that I shared earlier, as there's so much things when you think about manager, you can start talking about each one of those. There are so much, this is so big overall, but one of the things you can start thinking about as a manager are things of doing feedback. There are things about employee relations. Each of you, I would encourage you to read your employee handbook. Your employee handbook have some guide and suggestion of how to deal. If you have an employee that has issue with if you have an employee that's giving you employee relation issue, you want to definitely look to see how your organization solved that problem. And I bet you in your handbook, there's something about this. So there's a question: how do you motivate people who think they don't have anything else to learn in their job? Well, the employee, the learning mindset is, I think there's always something to learn, right? How do you motivate them is when they are seeing that you as the manager is learning, they're gonna be learning. And sometimes what I've done when I'm leading a team where people think they don't need to learn, I usually, and if you have weekly team meetings, maybe implement a learning piece in it. And don't be the one who always have to learn. Maybe you assign somebody different people to say, hey, why don't we talk about this topic next week? Or maybe read a book as a team or something like that. But motivating them sometimes is just looking at you learning, and then as a result, they start learning as well. Did that answer your question? Sometimes we force that learning aspect, you know, there's technology, there's new technology, I cannot believe anyone who thinks that there's nothing to learn. I have a CRM that there's new updates, and then I think I know it all of a sudden, there's something else to learn. If you're on LinkedIn, they drop a new upgrade, all of a sudden you have to learn. And your job, we have to always look to see how we can do it more effectively, we have to do it better, faster, right? So good. Any other question?
Do you have any advice if you're leading a team of like more experienced team members?
Absolutely. Sometimes that happens as new managers. We have people who are an expert in the field. They have more experience. They've been in the workforce longer than you, but that doesn't mean they know everything. That is when I think it gives you the opportunity to learn from them and for them to learn from you. There's absolutely something that, something that you can teach them from a leadership perspective, moving barriers for them. You probably will never be as good as a technician as they are, but your job is not to be that technician, to be good like them, but it's from a organizational perspective, from a leadership perspective. What do you need to do, and how can you figure out how you can help that individual? So I would just go from there. You might never be as good as a technician, because that's what they have done, that's what they'll continue to do, but your role is to lead the group. Your role is to move the team to the next level. So I think understanding yourself too is going to be very key. And don't let those people intimidate you. I think that probably the first thing you need to do is to don't let them intimidate you. Get to know them, but hold your ground, and to the place where you continue to get to know them, continue to share things, continue to ask for how you can move barriers for them. And I think from that, earn their trust. Earn their trust. And the way you do that is by continue to be there, being present, and do what you say you're going to do. If you don't know something, don't say you know it. And I think once they trust you and they see you, that fence will continue to fall down.
I just wanted to mention too, I checked, and Glenview Library does have that 5 Dysfunctions of a Team book by Patrick Lencioni. So be sure to check with your library for that book, and lots of other, management and leadership books.
Absolutely. I think I saw a hand raised. So
I'm going to try to allow you to talk.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. This has been very helpful. I do have a question. I'm the administrator and owner and the HR, and so I'm managing people and processes. I think my biggest um, problem right now, or the biggest challenge that I have right now, is one of the things you said in the beginning, where 70% is moving the roadblocks for the employees. A lot of employees understand what's going on, what has changed the world with COVID and lifestyles and unemployment at such a high rate for over so many years. My biggest challenge now is majority of my employees bring their problems that to work, and that interferes with their care, it interferes with their work. And it's a constant over and over where they want you to understand all the time. How do you set boundaries on the mental health of individuals versus the job itself and the responsibilities that must be taken care of?
Absolutely. Do you have an EAP number?
I do not.
Okay, I would encourage you, I don't, EAP, if, I don't know how
I
big your organization is, but you can find something like, even my organization that's very small, like $13, very effective, very it's not very expensive, that you can have some kind of place where you can take care of your employees by giving them a place where they can talk to professionals who are expert in that area, right? So think about getting an EAP, getting some kind of area where they can do it. And then also trying to, when people are talking, sometimes you need to listen, right? Because especially since 2020, we understand that there are, we want employees to come with the whole self, but we are not equipped to deal with the whole self, right? So that's why we want to make sure that we can say, I totally understand. I hear you. I understand you. I think you should talk to someone, and here's the person. If you have insurance, encourage them to do that. Encourage them to go for a walk. Encourage them to find groups or somebody else who can help them, but make sure you acknowledge it, right? You acknowledge it. But from an HR perspective, it's not every topic that you need to indulge in. You need to get in the nitty gritty, because then that opens yourself up to other things too. Does that make sense? So
thank you so much. I definitely will look into the EAP.
yeah.
I was not familiar with it, but I'll definitely look into it for my staff. Absolutely.
Yeah. How big is your company?
I have 11 employees.
11 employees. Okay. So do this. I'm gonna
11,
show. I'm sorry,
11
go ahead.
employees that work in the field. I'm sorry, 11 employees that work in the field and 2 employees that work in the office. So 2 administrative employees and 11 caregivers that work in the field with individuals in homes.
Okay. You know what I would encourage you to do, connect with me on LinkedIn. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect you with someone that I know who can help you, no matter what your budget and things like that. She can help you find something from an EAP perspective. So connect with me on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, Claire, I think you have 2 minutes. If we have one more question, or I just want to show my last slide. If it was great to be on the phone with you guys, on Zoom with you guys. If you want to connect with me, please visit me on People Architectural Group website. You can also follow me on LinkedIn. I have some upcoming courses in the next couple months. So if any of you are interested in learning more about delegation, everything DISC or unconscious bias, go ahead and connect with me, and I will be happy to share this information with you. But it was awesome to be here with you, and I hope you find some of these information useful, and thank you for your time today.
I don't see any other questions coming in, but Thanks so much for sharing all these great tips with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. I hope that you found this helpful. Again, we're recording this webinar, so we should be able to share it hopefully by the end of the week with everyone. So I'll be sending that out to everyone. And thanks again to Sarah, and thanks to everyone for joining us. Have a good night.
Thank you.